So good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for joining. I'm Rohan Shah, and I welcome you all to Future Talk. So future is already here. What was absolutely impossible yesterday is already here today, which we are seeing. And similarly, what is impossible today will be there in no time, just blink of an eye. So the question is, are we really ready? This is the Future Talk is the unique platform we have where we discuss the future, the future within the different industries from the experts and uncover what opportunities are awaiting for us in the future for all of us and how we can encash those opportunities. What action we can take today so we can lead our best life tomorrow. So, and I personally strongly believe that time has absolutely have come where we need to unthink the way we do things, right? I use the word unthink very strongly, that we need to unthink the way we do things and rethink everything what we do. So with that further taking no time, we will talk about today future of cinema from the different perspective. Last week we also talked about future of cinema uh, with Nikhil, and this week we have Kinjal Rajpriya with us. She'll give an absolute new perspective on future of cinema from her angle, and will so welcome Kinjal, welcome to Future Talk. And so before we begin, let me quickly introduce your amazing career. So let me briefly introduce her. So in just last 5 years, Kinjal has uh, a household name for across Gujarat, right? From her interesting movie selections, from her becoming a brand ambassador for Kalyan Jewelers, she has paved her new path for a regional artist. And not only apart from being a great actress or a lead actress in the hit boxes movies like Chhello Divas, and Saib, but she is one of those who takes her profession very seriously and continuously striving to be innovative in her profession. And that's innovation is what we are looking for, right? Along with reading scripts in this lockdown, she has spent a lot of time. So what I was mentioning is the film
Mhm,
industry is particularly this time in this vulnerable time
mhm,
is very it's on almost on the at the halt from the production perspective as far as the
mhm,
consumption perspective, like
mhm,
because consumption as well as the production both needs a large group of people huddling in a confined space.
true.
Unlike my profession, like I can work from home no problem, but
Right,
there is a limitation, especially we talk about the film industry, right?
right.
So in this time, cinemas have closed, film festivals are on hold,
Mhm,
releases is postponed till indefinite time, we don't know, right?
right.
So the question is, how will the industry recover, and when it emerges from all this crisis, will it look completely differently? So there are a lot of questions are there. So my question to you is, what is your biggest worry, as
Mhm,
not only yours in the industry, maybe in general? What is the biggest
right.
worry the industry faces right now, or people associated with this industry?
Yes, very, very well put that, we belong from an industry where, there is a lot of traveling happening. There is a lot of going there out on the field and working. So I guess the biggest thing that I really feel that has to be taken into consideration immediately is the sanitization of the surroundings and the disciplined atmosphere where we work. The reason behind it is, generally what happens is movie sets are like very chaotic. There are a lot of people and you come in contact with so many people, say the costume designers, the makeup artists, the people who give you the sounds and the mic and label to wear. So I think the whole set has to be more channelized and more disciplined towards the fact that we maintain a very good sanitization on the set. We might have to, like, reduce the manpower to an extent to, keep it very crisp and very, what do you say, very limited to be able to be handled. Also, so yes, I think the framework of the discipline has to be more uplifted, has to be more, disciplined. Also, the one question, I think, I'm sure all the people who are investing in the films are going
Yeah.
to agree with me on that, is that, I think the movie, the opening of the films on the movie theaters might be affected after the lockdown. The reason behind it is, now that if they open really soon, we might worry ourselves that whether should we go out into theaters, into movie cinemas to go and watch a film, or to really wait for, like, say, more span of time to go
Yeah.
into a crowded bunch. So I guess, yes, those are the two aspects that I think I'm worried somewhere, but I really am keen to bring a change to, and they need to be more uplifted now.
Wow. So since you mentioned about this, a lot of precautions needs to be made, and a lot of guidelines also needs to be. So I was also on the very similar line. I was reading that lots of film industries, including Hollywood, Bollywood, because there's a lot of material available from that industry online,
Mhm.
right? They're planning to enforce very strict guidelines. They are actually making this entire guidelines for the shooting, for the post production, for everything, right? And a lot of protocols for the film crews during this shooting, as well as the theaters also, while they are releasing the movie shows.
Mm, mm,
So since this pandemic, even after the lockdown
mm.
opens, public gathering might be restricted for a very long period of time, right? Which means
True.
theaters might not open, or shooting might be restricted with a very minimal crew, as you mentioned.
Mhm.
So do you think that small budgeted films may get better opportunities now, and maybe big budget films may not be that much in the mainstream for the next few years? Do you think that those aspects can come into the surface?
Well, yes, absolutely. The small budget films, in fact, and the regional films, I would say, now have a huge opportunity knocking their way through. Like, post the lockdown. The reason behind it is, like, we can now focus on the higher recovery rates from the films, with the small budget films, and they are going to be more profitable, considering the status and the statistics earlier. Also, I think this can, like, knock down the economy of the big budget films, which usually happen in which are usually Hollywood and Bollywood films. But yes, absolutely, the low budget films and also the regional films have a very good scope of coming out together as an industry. And also, now this is a very very good time for all the people who are actually so much talented with new content. Now they will get a lot of a brilliant platform to now showcase the talent, because now the social platforms are also given a very huge importance. So I guess it can be a golden period if you sell the right kind of content.
Correct, correct.
Content,
Now,
I
since
mean.
you have mentioned since you have mentioned social media, I have a lot of questions on the social media. But
Mhm.
before we move to social media, I have a couple of more questions actually. So
Yeah.
apart from this, so you said this small budget film, of course, the
Mm.
regional films might get more importance. That is wonderful actually. That way, our regional artists also get a huge spike in their career also, and a lot of opportunities lies for them. But do
Right.
you think, on the other side of it, do you also think that digital films, or like
Mm.
animated movies, they also
Mm.
might get a lot of, because that may have a limited crew, or we can uh, eliminate a lot of restrictions, or we can take care of a lot of restrictions. What are, so do you think those animated films, or even these digital movies, will get more promotion these days? Because like Hollywood, we see a lot of movies from the Pixar or Disney, but we haven't seen that much trend in Indian
Mm.
cinema, especially even
Mm.
in the Gujarati cinema. We don't. So
Mm.
do you think those have an opportunity to come up in Indian cinema?
I guess yes. Particularly, like, speaking about the Gujarati film fraternity so far and the industry, I think there is an opportunity as well and a challenge as well. Let's talk about the challenge aspect first. That what I've observed is that it is a challenge to scout for the right kind of a talent to make such films. to make an animation film is, of course, an opportunity when we consider that it does not need a lot of field work out there. You can stay indoors, you can stay in the studios and work a lot, but then scouting for the right kind of the talent is very important. And
Right.
I guess this could be a budding opportunity for the Gujarati film industry, if I talk about it specifically, to scout for all those talents and to hunt for people who really are having a great knack for it, to crack it. So I guess yeah, that's one challenge that we have to
Exploring the future of cinema and how it can benefit for in coming years. So welcome, Kinjal. And so before we begin, I or let me start with asking you one big question, which
go through. And the opportunity is, of course, for the regional cinemas, is that we can reach out to more people because the reach has become widened now. Also, we can experiment with I guess the mythological and hero related scripts that because usually if we look at it, knowledge works better with animation rather than putting it into words and actions. So I guess animation is a very good way to pitch the mythological and heroic stories that might be relatable to a particular region if we talk about it. So yes, I
sure.
guess, and also if I can say a line in Gujarati for all the Gujarati people here with us, કે યુઝ્યુઅલી કેવું છે કે મેં એક છે ને બહુ નાનકડી વસ્તુ નોટિસ કરી કે નરસિંહ મહેતા નરસિંહ મહેતા જેવું નામ ઘણા બધા નવા જનરેશનને ખબર જ નથી. તો હવે આવા કોઈક મોટા વ્યક્તિત્વની વાત જ્યારે આપણે એનિમેશન ફિલ્મ્સ થ્રુ કરવી હોય, કારણ કે એ આઈડિયા મારા મગજમાં પણ આવતો હતો ડ્યુરિંગ ધ એન્ટાયર લોકડાઉન સેશન, that there is so much about Gujarat which yet a lot of people, and specifically the young mass
Sure.
of Gujarat itself, does not know. So I guess animation and digital platforms can be a very good medium to communicate and to એ પહોંચાડવા માટે. It can be a brilliant medium. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And I think if that trend comes, as we speak, that talent is also a huge challenge with us. But if that trend comes, the new talent also starts emerging, and the people who possesses such talent, there is so many start coming up in this industry. So absolutely.
And yeah, and also,
Now coming
on
to the
that note,
social
we can,
media.
yeah, and on
Okay, so
that way, sorry, we were facing some glitch.
yeah, no, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, fine. The video was freezing.
Okay,
Sorry, it might be my
okay.
bad. Also, there is a opportunity for the Gujarati industry here where we can bring on board the talent from around the country or around the world, because just in case, if of course we are going to root for the right kind of talent to make the animation films not only in Gujarat, but we can also recruit people from overboard, or from places afar Gujarat, so that way we have a technical reach which becomes widened, and there are a lot of people outside Gujarat who are really willing to work for Gujarati industry. So
Absolutely,
in the terms of making also, I think it has a wide scope now to bring people on board.
absolutely. So now coming to the social media. So all stars, all celebrities, all actors, actresses, they are going on social media very aggressively these days, just to make sure that they are relevant, as well as they are visible to their fan followers, their audiences, and their community, right? Wherever. So do you think that this social media is next big thing, and it will be bigger than the mainstream film industry going forward?
uh, I think social media is already a big thing. Now the big thing should be utilizing the social media into a very smart way. I
Very
think
well.
yes, the approach now has to be more about the substance rather than about just being the cover, because I think it was now the audiences out there, the people, because I interact with a lot of people on social media. I read their messages. I get a lot of messages saying, like, XYZ number of things. I have cut down my things to the fact that now people are really looking forward and really keen about knowing the inner truths. So now social media hopefully is not only going to be about the cover. It is more going to focus on the substance what we sell. And like, if you look at it in an optimistic way, it's just going to add more value to the social media and to your profile on the social media. So yes, this is it is the next big thing already, but now it could be the next best useful thing if smartly utilized.
Sure, sure. I was a part of one of your previous webinars. I think few days ago you talked about the personal branding, and you have been using that personal branding, and that personal branding. Social media is the one platform where you can actually portray yourself. Anybody can come up and brand themselves with the right content. So I
Mhm.
want to know what is your strategy in terms of how do you uh, to brand yourself, and what platforms do you use, and what do you you're from your personal perspective, how do you brand?
From a personal perspective, I think that ever since I have been on social media, ever since I've known the concept of social media. Of course, I am there on almost all the social medias, out there, because my fans have pulled me through. ऐसे घर से निकाल के, they have put me that go, come, lady, and talk and share what you feel. But then I was always focusing on adding more value to the brand that I sell out there. My journey through so far on the social medias have always been focused on developing a name into a brand. The reason being that uh, uh, I think the glamour of the showbiz is very temporary, is a phase driven. It's going to last for, like, say, if you put up a selfie, like, people go crazy that yeah, wo, da, but then what is next? What are you selling? So rather than so making it more putting it more what do you say making it more consistent was my idea. Making it more valuable to people, because when you utilize your name into something that has to be productive, and not only for the business, not only the brand is not there out for only doing the business or bringing the business or helping a business to grow bigger. It is also very importantly to influence the people around you, because nowadays social media has such a huge impact on the new gen in specific, I guess. And that is the very very the feasible platform for all of us to come and share something that we did that would bring a smile on somebody's face, or inspire somebody to dream and achieve more. So yes, that's how I have been
True,
thinking
true.
about it.
Correct, correct. So I've been also trying to use social media recently a lot, and but it's a slow success. What you said is so true, that consistency is the key, because it's social media is making the right content is absolutely important. I believe in and the consistency, as you mentioned. So very well said. Now let's talk about the short term, because of course this crisis is definitely going to go, and we will get back to a normal. Maybe the normal might take a while, so I want to focus on the long term film industry now. So for a long time, right, the people have been saying, or everybody's saying, that business is changing. Every industry is getting disrupted, and it is absolutely undeniable now. Changes is
Mm.
consistent. So there is too much uncertainty about the future, right? Because change is happening in incredibly dramatic way. There are so many streaming platforms available, there's OTT platforms now, and so much open for people to collaborate with each other.
Hmm.
So my
Hmm.
question to is, like, Netflix, Amazon, Prime, all the OTT platforms we talk about, all the are coming up with their own series, and the web series and everything. So do you think that Gujarati cinema is also planning to go exclusive, because we haven't seen so far the mm, uh, Gujarati, especially the regional series on such platforms?
Yes, I think the Gujarati cinema has actually come a long way from where it had all begun, and I think now there are various genres that people are really awaiting. There is a lot of content that we get a lot of messages from all Gujarati span the world, saying that we want to see more of your work. We want to see more of Gujarati uh, um, uh, you know mm, content on the web portals. But still, I am going to be very honest about it, that I feel the audience is still building up when I talk about Gujarati cinema in specific, because the popularity of regional cinema in general has yet not reached to the level where it kind of would get the kind of attention that the Bollywood and the Hollywood projects do. For example, if there is one uh, Hindi language ka one web series or one some film, it really gets a very very quick elevation towards being the favorite and number one trending on the watch list. But considering the regional and specifically the Gujarati regional, I guess it has picked up very fast. The audience is still building, but the rise, the inclination of the graph is very quick. So if like right now we can say that wo loha garam hai to thoda baja dena chahiye abhi, because
Correct,
we
correct.
are very hopeful that a lot of people out like not only in Gujarat but in India, and also the people who are everywhere in the world who can understand Gujarati, who have an inclination towards Gujarati, are actually getting driven towards new and new content on the OTT platforms. So I guess this can be a very golden opportunity, and if because if we can frame it right, and in fact before the lockdown happened, we as the whole Gujarati industry were really happy about the fact that 2020 is going to be a very good year for Gujarati films to come up, because there were so many good projects in making, the some projects that have already been made and we are yet to release. So there was so much of good content coming up, but unfortunately the pandemic might have put it on the hold. But there is no harm in looking on the OTT platforms as the next the next big platform that we can showcase our work on.
Sure, 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 sure,
Mm.
sure. Perfect, perfect. Okay. So this, so next question I have is, so I was actually, this is more of a, that's very surprising to me. I was talking to one of my friend recently, a couple of months ago,
Mhm.
who works in the Bollywood, so Hindi cinema. He lives in Mumbai, and he was mentioning. So while talking, I was talking to about this all film and everything. So while he was mentioning that eventually, the movie theaters will eradicate, obsolete
Mm.
completely, and that is because today's
Mm.
kids, they don't watch movies. They don't watch movies
Right.
because they prefer short clips. They prefer short videos. They prefer like
Mm.
YouTube is getting more trendy, short clips, or social media primarily for their own entertainment, and not only watching. They want to be a part of it, right? They want to collaborate. So
Mm.
do you think that is, what is your
Mm.
opinion on that? What is
I
your, I
think
just want to.
yeah, so I think that watching a movie in a theater is not only about watching a movie, it is an
Okay.
experience actually. So and that will never let people be pulled away from the theaters. I know the thought is the thought might be true somewhere, but I think with the right kind of technology upliftment, uh, mm, we can definitely bring people, and people are like rushing in the theaters because of the technical aspects of a film. For example, if you talk about a great epic film like Bahubali, you cannot experience a film like Bahubali sitting back in your in your home theaters or on your TV or on your mobile phones. So I guess technology will play a hero here when we talk about pulling people to the theaters. And also there was like a thought that because this thought has really been somewhere down the line bothering me as a concern that yes, the generation today, the kids today are really so much inclined towards watching short clips and short films on the social media platforms, or you say any of the social portal. But I guess there also has to be a slight change in the educational system, where we at least bring forth the science and art of theater. I'm not asking to, I do not believe to introduce a whole new syllabus, because because poor kids are, as it is, burdened with a lot of books. But along with the whole curriculum that they study, if they get to study the theater and the art and science of a theater, the science behind making a movie, I guess that is going to, lure them more towards the world of cinema, how a theater functions, what are the projectors, how does the screening happen. So I guess a small inclusive of the curriculum, in the curriculum, regarding the films, would actually give them, the basis of the film study. So I guess that could be a solution to it. But again, with on our job, on our part, we really focus on
Yeah,
uplifting the technology so much
yeah,
that,
what's behind in the,
which is right.
yeah, so very well said, and very well thought put that, adding the curriculum, adding certain those theaters and acting and cinema studies into curriculum will give them the picture what goes behind the screen, and how much hard work and how much technology involvement, how much skill sets required. So that
Right.
perspective also very important for them to build. So yeah, very well said. Now at the end, before we start taking the questions from people, so if
Mhm.
anybody have questions for Kinjal, please feel free to put it on the Q&A section. Okay, and but before that, what is, if there are a lot of young generation today want to also aspire to get into the film industry, so if you want to give them one advice, what would that be?
Uh, First and foremost, I think that cinema is not about the art, because there is a lot of misconception that like hum bade artist kism ke log hain, or I think film is our business. I don't think so. I think that cinema is not only about the art. There is a lot about the science and the technical knowledge we need to excel in to become a part of this industry. Having said that, there has to be more time spent on the personal R&D. So for example, you need to research a lot on how the films have been made, the whole history of cinema, and how has it evolved over so many years. And that is not only limited to one specific genre or for one specific language. It is, the cinema is a very big word when we talk about it. And also with that, I think the exercise of theaters, joining theater is very, very, very helpful, because especially for the people who want to be there on the working crew of a movie. So may it be an actor or a director or a cinematographer or anything. But when you are on the set, that is kind of, the practicals to the theory would be the research, the person R&D that you do. But the practical output is the
Sure.
theaters. When you go out there, I think it makes a lot of difference. And the best part is that because of the regional cinema brooding so well, and also being accepted so well, Mumbai is not is no more the only epicenter for all of it. There are a lot of people pan India can, they can enroll from their regional platforms to excel their art or to showcase what they've got. So that way, the regional cinema, the whole idea of being local, is playing part and playing a true part in here, that you really don't have to run to Mumbai altogether to struggle and to become an actor or to become a director. I think now we have a lot of platform that enables us to do that. Having said that, education is still very important, that I've always believed and said on each on every platform. If you are inclined towards film studies, go for it. But you there is a lot of misconception of leaving the studies in between and shifting towards any of the film business or cinema business. But that is something that I would not recommend, because along with being a good artist, you also have to learn to be a very good professional, because the competition around is very tight. We are not the only talent here. We have lots and lots of people like us. So yeah.
But yeah, now before moving to questions, and you can see all the question answer, you should be able to see on your screen as well. But before we see, we
Uh-oh.
have a lot of questions, so we might not be able to go with all the questions, but we can go with the few. But before that, I want to just on a little bit on the personal front.
Mhm.
What is your future aspirations in the industry, and what are you looking? Yeah, where are you moving?
Oh, well, I would be very candid about this one because, ever since I've started working and ever since I've, looked at look at being a professional, my idea was always to go global, starting from being a local because and I have never set my limitations to to being here in specific. For example, there are a lot of people I come across, they say कि मुझे हिंदी फिल्म में काम करना है, मुझे ये करना है, मुझे वो करना है. But it's like my list has always been on and on because the world around has taught me that and has inspired me to that there is no limits, that there is no what do you say, the whole idea is to to become global. And there are a lot of platforms now that you really, if you really are passionate about it, if you really are aware about the whole scenario and your contemporaries and how the world of whatever your profession is functioning, I guess we can crack the right kind of opportunities. And I of course aspire to do a lot of other regional work. I aspire to do a lot of Hindi Hindi work, which can be a very national language. So I would really like to explore that. And I do not think that the only national platform could be enough, because I of course aim for becoming international someday, and with the right kind of right dedication and right hard work for it. But
Yeah.
yes, I aspire to do a lot of things. But again, I don't think that I will ever be away from theater. So I take up as many theater opportunities that come to my way. The reason behind it is that an actor down the line, when I call myself an artist, theater is the only school that I learned. So I guess along with the theaters, I want to do a lot of work which can reach out to everyone across the globe. That's fingers crossed, but that's how I aim for
No, no, all the best,
in
all
my
the best.
future.
I'm sure you will have it. So, um, so what? So now, so while you go global, there are a lot of other, of course, you have been in the industry since last 5 years, and still you
Mhm.
have a long way to go. So, a lot
Yeah,
of genres to be explored, also, right? So,
right.
if I want to ask you that one genre which is you are very fascinated to do those type of films, what would that be?
Of Very honestly, I really want to mm, uh, when we talk global, I really want to be a part of some superhero fiction. Uh, yeah, but see, it's like, it's like asking a foodie that what's your favorite food, very
Yeah,
honestly. But then yes, when we talk about it and on a global platform, yes, there is a lot of action that I want to do. There's a love story that I want to do. There's a lot of kind of the characters which we have empathy and sympathy towards, and which are very unique in their own ways to portray themselves out in the world. I think there are a lot of characters and a lot of film plots that are enlisted on my board. But yes, and I am continuously trying to experiment and wear a new character, and I'm very much sure that the viewers are going to witness that soon.
sure, absolutely. Now, let's take few questions,
Uh-huh.
from the audience. So you can able to see all the question answers on your screen as well. So, sorry, we won't be able to take all the questions, but we can take few of them.
Uh-huh.
So, one of the questions we have from Ankur Das, it says, "Hi Kinjal, I have a young friend who has really progressed as a star in Gujarati theatre. Would you suggest she should focus on regional cinema first or the national OTT?"
Oh, well, see, hi, Ankur, first of all, and thank you for bringing on this wonderful question. I guess, see, the platforms and the the work should not be of any importance until and unless you prove yourself out there as a professional. Any opportunity that comes your way is an opportunity to showcase what you have and what you've got. So rather than focusing on, whether we should do an OTT first, or whether you should enroll for Gujarati cinema, or whether you should, do a regional thing or a Bollywood thing, I think the first focus has to be uh, you be able to sell your art. First of all, look at your audience if they can buy your performance in the way you want it. And in that journey, once you start, you have to start somewhere, right? So wherever you start, I think you will have the kind of audience building around you, and then there is no barrier, there is no stopping once you start. But then, rather than being specific at first, be open to every opportunity that hits, and then you can choose the platforms that you want to work later in your journey.
Sure, sure, sure. I hope that answers. There's one question from Geet Sharma. He says,
Uh-huh.
what do you think about how our film stars will react to normalizing? Also, what, in your view, will be the new normal for the filmmaking?
The new normal for the filmmaking is going to be a lot of discipline and a lot of sanitization, because very honestly, Geet, I myself am so scared to go out there and to experience the whole thing once again. But then I think as humans, we all are battling the same kind of the same pandemic uh, across the globe. So I guess the new change in the film is of course going to be taking more care about the whole setup and yourself. And also, I guess there is one very big impact that I think every human being is going to experience, self experience, and that is, our now our needs have become kind of limited. We There were some people, there are some people who think that, okay, we need this or we need that, or we want this luxury or we want the comfort. I think now everything is going to make more sense and logic, कि जितनी जरूरत है उतना ही we can wish for. Because right now, if you consider all of us locked in the houses, we do not demand for